Hello, everyone. I bet you're so surprised that there are 5 people going live on OCD Game Changers because we did not advertise this. Well, Lauren did, actually, but no one else did. I bet you're so surprised. So we are, hello, everybody. My name is Chrissy Hodges. I'm the Executive Director of OCD Game Changers. You're joining us here on Facebook as well as YouTube. And this is our initiative called Compassionate Connections. And what we do is we talk about OCD and addiction, and we have all kinds of lived experience, whether that be family, recovery, people that are still struggling, and all kinds of different opinions. And what I love about this is that it's very inclusive. Wherever you are in your journey with OCD and addiction, you have a place here, and you'll be able to relate to something. So why don't we get started our group is about 9 people big, but we'll talk about the structure and probably in a little bit of how it's going to look moving forward. But tonight there's just 5 of us, and there might be a couple other people that might pop on too. So who knows? But I'm going to start with having us introduce ourselves. Who are you? Where are you from? If you feel comfortable saying, that's a group thing. And then why is this important to you? So Lauren, do you want to go first?
Sure. I am Lauren Rosen, formerly McMeekin, but newly Rosen. And I am in Dana Point, California. And what brings me here? So I have both lived experience with OCD and substance use disorder. I've been sober for 16 years, and I also am a therapist, and I specialize in treating OCD. I work with people with OCD and substance use disorder. So bringing those vantage points to the table, and happy to be here.
Yay! What about you, Sean?
Oh, I'm next. I knew it. She's going to go. All right. My name's Sean Shinnick. I am out on the East Coast, actually, Boston, Massachusetts. I'm from Ohio originally. And I am a mental health advocate, artist, illustrator, and I am someone who has lived experience both with OCD, anxiety, depression, and substance use with alcohol, especially when my OCD was probably at the most severe. It's the way that I escaped and handled it. And I would love to talk to other people who are going through similar things. I do a lot of things with my own artwork with people on the side with expressing themselves, and I'd love to be able to give my 2 cents and my own experiences if that can help in anybody's else's journey or story. So down with being here. Thanks for having me, Chrissy.
Yay! Draw your monster.
Yay!
Oh, look, someone else just showed up. Hold on. I'm going to bring them on. It's Lori Johnson.
Hey, sorry I'm late.
Hey. Look, you went right into where we were at in introduction. So we did not miss a beat. So, Lori, who are you? Where are you from? And why is this important to you?
I am Lori Johnson. I am from Denver, Colorado, and in Focus Counseling. Why is this important to me? Oh my God, so many reasons. I literally just got off from a session, so my brain's like, yeah, I guess just letting people know and kind of sharing my own experience and letting people know there's like a bajillion other options out there. There's not only just one way to kind of cope with whatever's going on. So yeah, I'm honored to be here.
Yay! So glad you made it.
Wait.
You're fine. Neil Hemmer.
Hey, I'm Neil. I'm from Chicago. What are we saying again? We're saying why this is, well, I know why this is important to me. I have lived experience with drinking, heavy drinking, years and years, like a whole decade of it. And also OCD, anxiety, and depression. So obviously this hits close to home just from my own personal experiences. But yeah, I'm also a therapist and a certified trauma counselor myself. So yeah, I see my clients dealing with this stuff every single day. And I myself dealt with it for near a decade, and I think over a decade actually, because I was like 12 when I started drinking, and then I stopped when I was 25. So yeah, a little bit over a decade. So yeah, I used it to cope for a long time. And even when I was getting sober, I was staunchly against 12-step programs and AA. I've since kind of changed my stance on that, but there are just so many other ways to recovery. And I think this is important to me because we're told that there's just one way to get to recovery, right? Which did not fit in my box. I know it doesn't fit in many people's boxes, but there's a way to be recovered without fitting in any box, right? And following your own path, whatever recovery looks like to you. So here to share my story, and hopefully it'll help a few people.
Hey, Margaret.
Okay, and you'll let me know because you all are delayed. So I'm upstairs. I'm doing everything you've told me to do. So I'm Margaret Sisson. I am from Fayetteville, Georgia, which is about an hour south of Atlanta, and I'm executive director of Riley's Wish Foundation. And why I'm interested, Riley's Wish. Riley Sisson was my son, and I lost him 7 years ago, September 1. So I just went through that anniversary, which is hard, and sometimes it feels like yesterday. So we went through so much, and there was so much that happened that we weren't able to get help, and it was just a vicious cycle. And so I'm really passionate about being a part of this for families and those who struggle with OCD and substance use, that we can get, because now I know there's great resources, there's great people, and we got these people on this panel that can help, and so that makes me grateful.
Yay. And I am Chrissy, and I'm in Palmer Lake, Colorado. So I'm about an hour south of Lori and way higher up. So it's cooler here. I bet you're jealous.
Yeah, I am. It's really hot. Like, you can see that my face is red. It's a little warm.
Yeah, it'll be like 50 tonight. So you can always come down. Anyway, this is important to me because, first of all, Riley is important to me, and Margaret, and I believe in the cause of Riley's Wish. I was really good friends with Riley, miss him. It's always hard to hit that anniversary. But also I struggle with addiction, substance use, lots of trauma issues, trying to understand what's going on, trying to reduce the shame and all of it. And I continue to look out for just different perspectives and finding normalization in this stigmatized area. The more I meet with clients as a peer support specialist, the more I hear people struggling with addiction and substance use, and they don't tell their therapists and they don't tell anybody because they're immediately stigmatized, and they don't feel like they belong anywhere, and they feel like they belong in a space where they should be shamed and that they should be better, because they're weak. And so it's important to me because I really want to bring the element of it's okay if you're struggling, and it's okay to explore different options, and it doesn't have to be one size fits all. That's what I think. So yeah, I have an idea tonight, since we didn't have a topic. But I thought what we could explore is, because I know all of us have probably experienced this or have seen this in other people, let's talk about the rise in addiction in COVID, because I would like to have thought that the last time we all met that, it's all over and COVID's done. And as we all know, in all of our respective spaces, we are not done with this, and this is not going away. And in fact, I think it's going to get worse, and people are feeling trapped, and they're feeling scared and stuck. And how is this impacting us? How is it impacting the people we know? If it's okay with y'all, let's talk about that and see where the conversation goes.
Can I actually start on that? Am I allowed?
Yeah, anybody can.
Dope.
As long as, should we read the rules of the group like we do at OCD Peers?
I'm always the one who reads the rules, Chrissy, and I don't think we have to in this space.
Let's stay sober and clothed.
I do have it handy though. Everyone loves that rule because they're like, that'll never happen. And it's like, then this naked drunk guy comes on. It's like, it does happen. That's why we have the rule in place. No, but Chrissy, I wanted to begin because I think that you and I touched on this just earlier today when we were talking. Was that yesterday? I forgot what day it was. But being overcommitted, right? Like, and I think that's something we don't talk about enough on here or anywhere, right? Like addiction can look like so many things. Obviously, some of the most destructive is substances, right? Or really addictive behaviors, right? Gambling, sex, all those kind of things. But something that I always have to stay hyper vigilant of in my life, in my recovery, is what else am I getting addicted to, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like okay, cool, I've beat alcohol, but now what else am I using to replace that need, right? Are they comforting things? Are they healthy things? Are they productive things, right? And even when I try my best, I stumble, right? And so I realized when I was talking to Chrissy, it was either today or yesterday, I don't know. It was today. Oh, cool. Okay, it was today. That like I have noticed this uptick with me and all my friends that we are all way overcommitted, right? We're all being super hyper productive, which to the rest of the world is great. But when I said it to Chrissy, I was like, oh, that's an addict thing, right? Like I am being overcommitted and I'm being overproductive. And I ask myself this question often, right? What am I running from? What feeling am I feeling that I don't want to sit with? And we talk about this often in OCD, right? That's the whole thing. With OCD therapies, you have to sit with the anxiety. So I think that a lot of people are choosing to cope with this COVID stress in way different ways. And yeah, one of mine is being overcommitted and overly booked up all the time.
Yeah, I think that's really true. There's been this drive to show up to everything and take advantage of this training and this training. And then I think someone posted on, one of the groups, there's like, I think it's the IOCDF conference coming up. And it's like, why would you choose not to go? Is it money and the topics? Is it the topics and the times? Is it the content? And one of the choices was just like, I can't handle going to another online conference or I'm going to go insane. And I was the only one who checked that so far. But just the overcommitment and like, oh, it's online, it's easier. It's just this one thing. It's just this 1 hour, this next meeting and, or community engagement. And I definitely think that I fall into that category too, just like you, Neil. Like, okay, I got to be doing something. Since the world's not working, you got to be doing something, but it doesn't actually fix anything emotionally of what's going on. Because when I finally take a moment to sit, everything feels like it's swirling around, and it sucks to sit in the middle of that and see people suffer, not be able to show up, not be able to fly home to Florida and just like be with family, because to some extent it doesn't feel safe all the time to just travel or whatever. Yeah, so I feel like I'm in 100 different directions.
When we think about the let's do the Zoom thing, let's do this, we're losing the connection. We're losing, like we are in a prolonged loss of connection. To be able to show up and have me like grab you, Lori, and bear hug you, for 5 minutes, that would be awkward, but still, I would do it. but like that loss of connection where we feel like, how long can we go? And we think, yay, let's do the Zoom thing. But at the same time, like we need each other. We need that ability to be around each other, to start to heal and to really feel like we belong.
Mm-hmm. Well, and I think like, just use rates for alcohol alone are up 50 to 55% since COVID. And that was like maybe 6 months ago. So it's probably even increased since then. It could be this false sense of community and connection for some, or just like, ugh, I don't want to talk anymore, or I got to make it through the Zoom or whatever. Just this like elongated um, facade or mirage of connection or de-stressing.
Yeah,
It's interesting because
Yeah.
you guys go.
Go, Lauren.
No, you guys go.
Lauren, you
Okay,
go.
okay. I'll go. Okay. What's interesting is that I think that at the beginning of the pandemic, there was so much space, right? All of a sudden, we're like, wow, like there's not all of the things, all the commitments, even the social stuff that perhaps we enjoy. That it was like, oh, wow, there's space and we can take things a little bit more slowly. And it's so interesting. I think it's reflective of actually this cultural drive and addiction toward productivity that a year and change later, we have now filled all of that space to the point where now it's just so like it's manic in a new way, even though we can't necessarily access some of the in-person things, still managed to really keep up that pace. And I think, Neil, you asked the question, what are we running from? I think another interesting question is what are we running toward? And I think a lot of the time with this cultural addiction toward productivity, it's that quick like dopamine fix of like, oh, yay, I got the gold star, right? Like I got that external validation of I did the thing and people like me and I'm good. And it's like any other addiction, right? Neil's laughing. Why are you laughing, Neil?
Because it's so like me. I love quick dopamine fixes. It's my favorite thing. I signed up.
Come on, right? Who doesn't love a good dopamine fix, right?
So I'm moving in like 8 months or something. I'm saving up money right now, so I'm doing extra like side jobs, and one of the side jobs literally gives you stars, like you get ratings. So when I got a 5-star rating, I was like, yeah, I'm good. People like me. Like those are my exact thoughts. That's why it's laughing.
I feel that, man. I do. Gold stars are great. I'm not.
And I have been I've been in avoidance, and I don't have OCD, but boy, I have just avoided, like Zoom. I'm just a real get together with people, and living by myself, and it's that relationship that I really miss that. And as you know, I got to go to Montana on a pack trip and up in the wilderness, but it was with 10 of my friends. And I'll tell you what, I mean, we all just went, oh God, it's just so good to be with people. And so I've avoided all this, even just, and maybe it's because my internet's so crappy, but I need that relationship, and I think people with I see Chrissy laughing, and I'm having a feeling my internet's crappy. So I'm ready to get back and see people, and I don't know when that's going to happen. I don't know. There is no light right now that makes me think that that's going to happen quickly. So I don't like that.
Well, I appreciate the overcommitment piece. Because I feel like here's another thing, and Jenny Bailey is commenting, yay, thank you for being here. It's interesting to draw the parallel. Many people went from being overcommitted, overworking as a route to stay away from escape drug and alcohol addictions to losing that particular coping mechanism, which is interesting. But I also think too, we may have this societal pressure of, well, we're home and we can be in our pajama pants. So why are we not writing a book? Or why aren't we starting this business? Or why aren't we doing this? Or why aren't you doing that? And well, I can do this live and I can do this and I can, because I'm just sitting at home when, my good friend, and I'm sure y'all know her, Allegra Cassins, we've been talking the last couple of weeks, and she's in New York where everything's kind of starting to close in again. And she's like, I come out of my room from doing therapy with people and I come into my living room. And now I'm having to relax and do life when, it's not engaging with the supermarket person on your way home from work, or the person getting your coffee, or the cab driver, or going in the subway. We're not doing that anymore. So the connection's getting lost. And then it's do I go out because COVID's rampant, or do I, keep being more productive? So I think it's a really good point. I'm glad that we're talking about this. And I feel I'm in the middle of nowhere. There's space everywhere, but I still feel that pressure too.
It's funny. It's funny what you said earlier, Chrissy. I literally, the class that I'm taking at 9 o'clock is a class on how to write children's books.
I think about this every night before I go.
So because of my need to feel productive, and because I'm procrastinating on other projects, I'm like, I need to do this other thing. So yeah, that's funny that you said that, because I was feeling that hardcore, and I even acted on it in terms of signing up for this thing that I'm paying whatever a month to teach me how to get an agent and all this bullshit and whatever. But just some of the other points that were made earlier, I kind of, in a way, actually it's kind of dawned on me as I've listened to other people talk tonight, is that I kind of feel like I was in the same space when I first quit drinking, because I quit drinking and I felt better physically, but my social anxiety skyrocketed because I was using it as a way to lubricate my social experiences and make it easier on me. And so now I was going out, and it was a stressful time to be social, and I got over it and got through it. But the way that I've, in an unhealthy way, have used the past year and a half, 2 years is a little bit like Margaret, is I've avoided a lot of actual situations, physical contact. I've used screen time as a filler for that connection, which is okay, a little bit in small doses, but when you're heavily relying on your social connections, it doesn't do the exact same job. So now I actually feel anxious again to go out, to go back to work. I've been working remotely for a year and a half. And because I've avoided a lot of social situations, because I feel like I lost, now I'm anxious. Now I'm going to be even more anxious going out there. Why do I want to put myself out there? I've even thought, Chrissy, I'm like, if I go out to Game Changers next time I see, I don't know if I'm going to be up for it. In the years past, I was ready to go. I social, I could do it. Now I'm a little scared now, because I've committed so much to an avoidant lifestyle, trying to be overproductive to put myself in a better place, and heavily reliant on screen time. And it's good to be, I'm aware of it. It's good that we're talking about it. So how do I take next steps out of this habit or addiction or whatever you want to call it, and move out into a better direction?
Oh, I'm so grateful you brought this up. And then after I say this, I'm going to get up and turn my air conditioner off because I'm freezing. But just so y'all know. But I think this is a great topic to pivot to, if it's okay with y'all, is addiction to social media and addiction to the internet, and how, Sean, you just so eloquently put it, how we've gotten to this place now where when we have to integrate back into the world, it's going to be difficult to navigate how we can't control how other people see us. right? And how to be. So I would love
Good
to
point.
open this up because I think
Life
gosh,
doesn't have filters, you know?
yeah, I mean, haven't we seen this in the last year and a half, even in our own OCD community, is all of a sudden there's this explosion, like everybody's an advocate and everybody's doing this. And it's almost this weird balance of, are we advocating for followers or are we advocating for the community? And I know that that's been like on my mind, and it's hard to see. But is this just a product of what we've been dealing with COVID? What do y'all think?
I think that's a really important piece that's kind of come up. There was a period of time where even for myself, I was like, okay, I'm going off of screen time, and you have this like tracker on your iPhone, like, yay, your screen time's down. And then you see it go back up again, and you're like, oh, for me, I'm like, what's that about? It went up like this just this week. It went up like 40%. I was like, ooh, what does that mean? And is there a purpose and an intention around that? Like, am I actually like looking for something, or am I just like endlessly scrolling through to kind of like, it almost reminds me of like gambling, like the slot machine. You are getting that endorphin dump, but from what? And sometimes it is that endless scrolling. And yeah, I've even found myself being like, what if someone were to call me right now or text me and be like, hey, would you like to go for a walk at the park? I might be like, nah, I'm just gonna stay here with my online friends and with my screen. Like, that's just, it's ridiculous. But the pull to do that is just kind of comfortable sometimes. Because there is anxiety in going out. Like, I don't know who's going to be at the park. I don't know if people are going to be wearing their masks. I don't even know if it's like safe to go out, or is it totally fine and okay, and just like making that decision based on that just to even leave the house. It's weird. But I know that that's a common thing for other people too.
So we just had a comment that I think is great. Is Jenny wrote, it's something I'm seeing a lot in my high school students, especially those that were fully remote last year. They're struggling to reconnect and socialize with each other. I'm seeing a lot of students who are completely unable to respond in class, but will voice their concerns in an email or on LMS, and their need to keep their phone in sight. This is big.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think this pandemic has just showed us how hopelessly addicted we all are to technology, right? And I think it's greatly worsened it because it has been the only way to connect, right? It's a big double-edged sword because, yeah, of course, are we mindlessly scrolling and are we just doing it for, either followers or for the community or whatever, or are we doing it because we're desperate for connection, and this is the only safe way that we know how to do it? I think that just sucks, right? It just totally sucks that it's something that we've integrated so deeply into our lives. It's almost something we can't get away from now. But I think it's something that we should try to limit as often as possible. One thing that I have done to limit myself was actually, Lori, I turned on that screen time tracking crap that iPhone does, because I was like, I just spent hours scrolling through Facebook, sharing everything I see, with no regard to what it's doing for me or anyone else. I just see.
You do share everything you see.
I know. People have told me that sometimes I just fill up their whole news feed, and I'm like, wow, that is very embarrassing. Because that means that I was on Facebook way too much today. But I get up in the morning and I'll be like, what drama's going on Facebook, right? Like, let's see what I can debate today, because I got nothing else to do, I mean, I have a job to work, and I'm overcommitted myself, but
I think that is so real. And when I was up I literally had no service, nothing on my phone up in the mountains.
Yeah.
And it was almost a panicky feeling at first because I had no connection with anybody. I mean, I had my real people there, but I'm like, God, I can't get a text. I can't get anything. I have no service for 5 days. And that made me really realize how dependent I am on it. It's kind of scary.
Well, and for me, it was really eye-opening when I went on that 3-week-long trip, that it took me an entire week to be okay with, like, I kept looking at my phone as if I had something to look at, but it was like I was in the Badlands and I was in, Glacier National Park. Like, there was no service anywhere. Margaret, we talked a bit on that trip while I was driving, but it was like one text took 10 minutes to send, and then when we were in the national parks, it was like, well, there's no reason to be on my phone other than taking photos. But it took me a good 5-6 days for me to be like, okay, I can just enjoy nature and not be constantly thinking about, like, dang, what's going on Instagram.
So I've got three small steps that I started to take 2 weeks ago, because it got to that point where there was one night where I woke up at 1 a.m. and I got into a TikTok hole for 4 hours. So I watched TikTok, or what do you watch TikToks for 4? How does someone do that? Well, this guy does. So I made 3 promises to myself. I told myself that no more social media or phone after 10:30 at night. And these are small steps. These are not the goal. These are just small steps to get to a goal. I'd spend 1 hour a day without my phone on me, whether it's a walk, playing basketball, drawing, doing some sort of artwork. So I've done that for the past week. So that's one week. And then I promised myself that I wouldn't compare myself to anybody else on social media anymore. And it's hard to stop that. Like, I don't know if you can stop that as humans, to compare yourself to other people, especially people who are doing things well. I always want to compare myself to other artists and other advocates and intellectuals who are really, really smart and creative. And it always actually made me feel worse than inspired. So I told myself that I was going to allow myself to compare me to myself who I was yesterday, and then allow myself to be in awe and grateful to people that are inspiring to me. So trying to stay true to that, but it's a step. There are a couple 2 or 3 small steps that I've tried to make for myself over the past 2 weeks. And I'm not going to eradicate social media totally from my life. I actually, in many instances, in all our instances, we need it for business and other things and career and stuff like that. But I can totally tone it down to where I don't have this glowing square thing. It's next to me. It needs to be checked on every 5 minutes. And that goes with text messages too. I want to give myself permission to not have to respond to everybody who texts me 45 times a damn hour and not feel guilty or bad about it as well. Like, I grew up in the 90s. Like, someone called me twice a night once. That's it. So I want to get back into that type of place. So,
well,
I think trying to get solutions, my solutions, what I'm doing for myself.
No, I love that. And I also think, Sean, you bring up such a good point, as we have, and I think especially during the pandemic, we've turned into this society of needing immediate gratification. Mm-hmm. I want more likes. I want more followers. So I'm going to post this, or I have a problem and I'm going to text someone, or I'm going to email, and I expect them to email me back in an hour. And if they don't, I'm going to email them again. And if they don't do that, then I'm going to say, well, I don't want to work with you, or whatever else, which, we're forgetting, like, the internet. Yes, we all have businesses, exactly like you said, Sean. But at the same time, like, there's still business etiquette, which is, I'm busy. And in 3 to 5 days, I'll get back to you. And if you don't understand that, then we ain't going to be business partners. But I think we're forgetting that in the world of the instant gratification. I want cookies at my house. I order them and they're delivered. I want food. I want bird seed or what, I don't know why I just said that, but like, I want this, it can be delivered tonight. Like, I need a ride somewhere. Here's my Uber. So we're forgetting that, like, and I think also the casualty is are people that aren't hooked into social media that much, that are like, I'm sorry, why are my coworkers acting like I'm an asshole if I'm not responding to them within 2 hours? Because I'm used to working in a way where we respect each other's time and we respect each other's boundaries. And so I think there's this very interesting dynamic going on of people who just think, well, my whole world is in my phone and I get whatever I want right now, versus another group of people that are like, actually, I'm running a business and I understand people are busy and I'm going to respect their boundaries.
A couple things I did, back to Sean's point of TikTok. I deleted my TikTok because it's an evil, abysmal hole that I continued to get lost in for hours upon hours upon hours. And I realized I couldn't stop myself. Every single time I opened TikTok, I was like, I'm just going to watch one video on the For You page. Now, it was hundreds. So I deleted it. People still send me TikToks. I still see the most popular ones, but I don't need it myself. I also swore off online dating. I was trying to find a partner on online dating, but I realized that I was using it more like an Instagram page or Facebook, and I was just like swiping on people. I was like I was like a month into it, and I was like, I don't even think like I want a girlfriend right now. I think I'm just doing this because I'm like bored and locked inside. So I deleted all my dating apps. I had like 12 of them, and I was just like, no, I'm not going to do. I had to cast a wide net, guys. That's not funny, okay? It's hard out there. So I had to cast a wide net. I downloaded all of them, and then I was like, no, I'm going to delete all of them. Because, I was just swiping along with my Facebook and my Instagram. I was just swiping on people's profiles for really no reason at all. And then people would match with me, and I'd be like, I'm sorry, I don't want to date right now. So there's two things. I deleted TikTok, swore off online dating, and I turn on that like screen time tracker because, my numbers are abysmal.
I need to follow your lead, Neil. That's exactly what I need to do. Exactly. Yeah. Relate very much to that, man.
I think my way that I've been dealing with limiting this is not saying no to people just because I'm like sitting on my couch just like scrolling through stuff. Like that's always going to be there, and I'm going to find it when I need it. And the thing that made me kind of think about this for myself is, and I can't stand when people do this to me, is like, oh, look at this. Look at this. Oh my God, watch this video. Oh my God, have you seen this thing? And oh my God, like, it's just, I kept doing that to my partner. And he's like, kill me now. Yeah, kill me now. Like,
I create that boundary immediately. Please do not ever send me video. Neil, you know this.
She was mean about it too. She was like, don't you ever send me any video or I will delete you off of social media. She was not kidding. She was like, I don't care what you think is funny. I don't want to see it.
Because there's too much pressure to think that something's funny. And if I don't think it's funny, then I have to go, that's not funny. And then I feel like a jerk and I have shame when I didn't even ask for the video in the first place.
Yeah.
In fairness, Neil does send an inordinate amount of memes.
Yes!
I loved it. I love it, dude. You keep sending them, man. I'm fine with it. That's my boundary. Sorry, I called you out. I love your memes. Oh, no.
They're great.
I have quality memes.
You do. You have solid memes, man.
Lauren,
solid memes.
Yeah.
I'm just saying that for Chrissy, if she's like anti being told to like something, then
I do send a ton of memes. No, Lauren, you're not wrong. Thank you for vetting that.
Thank you. I was going to say.
See, it's a good solution, people. Set your boundaries.
Uh-huh. This is where this all begins, is boundaries.
Wait, but the whole internet heard it here. I'm allowed to send Lauren as many memes as I want. She said,
go for it, man. I'll let you know if it becomes a problem. I'll be like, no more.
Okay.
Right. Okay. No, I agree with Lori, though. It is all about boundaries. And I think, as you guys were all talking, I was reflecting on the fact that one of the things that COVID did, and all of us sort of like massively hurting online, is it took away some of the boundaries between us that, almost in a positive way. I'm not saying obviously like we need to still know our boundaries and set them up, but the boundaries toward connecting, right? I wouldn't have connected really with any of you here because I didn't know how to get involved in the advocacy community, because I was just like, I don't know, like, how do you do that? And then all of a sudden it was like, oh, there's this Instagram thing and I can connect with people and I can provide supportive information. And so in some ways that's great. It removed these roadblocks, I should say, rather than boundaries. And then in response to that, we're all on this learning curve of, okay, what are my boundaries? Where do I need to say that enough is enough? I need to stop the screen time. I need to walk away. And I'm sort of, in terms of skills or tools that we can use, I kind of what Lori was saying is like, I'm with my partner, my husband, and he's like, don't look up that factoid on the internet, babe. Like, let's just be in the moment. Let's like have dinner. Like maybe we'll never know who that actor in that movie was. And I'm like, but it's right there. Why would we do that? It's like, no, please.
Lauren, that
you
would
just be with me.
Being in the moment, I think that's a huge part of it.
Yeah.
Because so many times we're not in the moment. Just like Neil was saying, here he is in this beautiful, and he's on his phone rather than, and I think being in the moment is key. And even like, I think with COVID, like alcohol, and it was so easy because you're not around a bunch of people. It was so easy to drink. It's so easy to, why not? It was a great way to, and I'm not going to see anybody. I might have a drink. And that's, I found that, and I don't use, but I thought, wait a minute, that was easy because I'm, I can sit on my phone and have a drink because I'm not really connecting with anybody. So,
yeah, and I think it's important too to kind of round it out. Is to, when we're talking about addiction, and Neil said it earlier, like the dopamine hit. I think it's important for us to think about, like, also, like, the pandemic has brought so much of our worth into question, right? And when we're looking at social media and internet interactions, our worth starts to become defined by how many comments I have, how many likes I have, which drives hello, Instagram and Facebook are designed to make you an addict. Like, they're designed for it. You do better when you have addictive behaviors to it.
There was a documentary on that. Does anyone know the name of that?
What was it? Social
Dilemma?
Network.
Is that what it was called?
Social Dilemma. Social Dilemma.
Dilemma.
Yeah.
I think so.
Yeah, that was good.
So it's like, it's egocentric. Am I right in saying that, Lori and Lauren and everybody?
Yeah,
like, you're getting rewarded for behavior that is not rewarding. And I think that it's been really hard to see that. It's been hard to see over the last year and a half where you have people almost compromising ethics and compromising things where you're going like, what is happening here? But then you can see, this might be an addiction. And what are we going to do about it? I'm afraid for that coming back out of this pandemic. of how is that going to reset for all of us. I do want you to know, I cannot wait. Like Sean, you're coming to an OCD Game Changers event. I don't give a shit. And I'm going to bear hug you for so long. It's going to be so awkward that I'm going to just make you not care about not being there. But like, like, I can't wait to be back to where it feels like we don't have to rely on where we're at now.
Yeah. And I think along the lines of the bear hug.
I don't want you to hug me that long.
Along the lines of the bear hug, like, it's just, if you're doing this all day long, like, it's not as rewarding, as like human contact. And this is never, your phone, your devices, all these things, and these workarounds that we've had with COVID as therapists and as people and workers and whatever. Not everyone has access to the internet still.
Yes.
Worldwide. And it's nice to have these, but they are not a substitute for the human contact and the social elements and pieces that we need, and the kindness and the compassion that we practice for ourselves and for other people. Right? You could get 1,000 likes and still not feel liked, or you can have all of this engagement and still go home alone at the end of the day. Like, and that those are the repercussions of the falseness of what this means for screen addiction or for whatever. It still doesn't ever make you feel whole.
It's all surface level. There's no depth to it. For me, it's never like, Neil was talking about the dating apps, and I was in a similar situation where I thought that maybe I was ready to date again, and I really wasn't, but I really got addicted to like swiping and having people else like me. So that's what I was doing. I wasn't really doing it to date anymore. I was just enjoying the fact that someone liked me, and it was really, really quick. But it's such a surface level, inch deep, not even connection, a thing that happens. It's the deeper connections. It's the invaluable intimacy that you get with someone that you really, really care about on a certain level that really lasts and really helps you grow as a person, helps the relationship grow, and all. It's the, it's the 3 or 4 or 5 or 6 big, deep connections that you have that make the life worth living, rather than these millions and thousands of small, little, minuscule, surface level little beeps and boops and likes and whatever that we're so attached to, and we think that is giving us, like Christy was saying, worth, which is false.
I hope she's doing okay.
You okay up there up top left?
I just had some water and it went down the wrong way. I'm sorry. I'm alive.
Yeah, and no, I think that that's so true, and that's a little dopamine, like, boop, ping, just a little dump right there.
Even the noises. Sorry, Lauren.
Yeah.
I'm done.
No, you're right. It's like a casino up in here, right? But I guess just to sort of pose the question, right? Like, yeah, ding, 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 ding. How much of this is something that was happening prior to the pandemic that we just maybe weren't as aware of, because the social connections that we have are sometimes deep and meaningful, and sometimes we're going for the dopamine hit, but they look so similar that we might not be sort of hip to that. And how can we turn our relationship into this online world, which is for many of us what we have access to right now more often than not? How can we turn it into something that isn't about, because I think it's important to have that if you are on social media. I know it's been something that I've navigated myself, is like, it can't be about the likes. So what is it about?
Yeah.
And where can you find that depth of connection, right? Like, the beauty is, like I said, I've met all of you through social media in one way or another, kind of. and I've had really beautiful connected moments with each of you. So it's like, I don't know, I just something to throw out there as a point of curiosity.
No, I think that brings it back full circle to what Neil said originally, as an escape, or the intolerance of being able to sit with pain or discomfort. And I think we've been struggling with this for decades before the pandemic hit, before social media. And to bring it back to addiction, in terms of finding something that occupies our mind and our space, because we're running away from some sort of things that we're not at that time able to deal with or want to deal with, or whatever you call it. So I think it's been going on for a long, long time. And so I think that's a really good point, Lauren.
Yeah, and trying to fill sorry, real quick, and then I'll and trying to fill the pit, right? Like, not just running away, but like, how do I feel okay with myself by grabbing at everybody else's I don't know, admiration.
I just wanted to emphasize that, and also Lauren point out the quote of "It's a casino up in here" that I'm going to be quoting later.
Is that going to be an Allegra Caston's shirt?
Yes.
It's a casino up in there. A scrolling hand on a phone.
But
I think that's the whole point, is that what social media is missing, that I really had to dive deep into this, because I was starting to feel myself being addicted. And when I pulled back on the harm reduction piece, I had paranoia. I was shaky. I had all of the withdrawal symptoms when I put in harm reduction, which was scary to me. But it gave me some perspective on it. But I think that's the piece where, like, at the end of the day, like Lori said, there's this deep hole. And I think even if it was before where I think the internet is so dangerous is the same thing I said earlier, is that it's so instant gratification.
Yes.
That's what it is.
I see Margaret on her horses in Montana, and I'm like, oh my God, that's amazing. Like I did it myself or something. It's not the same as doing it yourself. Like watching these TikTok videos or seeing all this stuff happen. You were not there. I did not ride horses in Montana. I did not go to I was not with Margaret and her friends, which, Margaret, it looks like you had an amazing time. But it's not the same as experiencing it and legitimately, like, filling your bucket and finding the things that you need. Absolutely.
And being present during it, instead of going and doing something only to post on social media about it. Because haven't we all experienced that too? When you're around someone and they're not present with you, they're present to take photos to show what they're doing.
Yep.
That's the other piece.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And then you get there to that thing and you're like, this is stupid.
Well, and I mean, no, everybody knows that I don't do that because I take photos with my iPad. And so when I'm taking photos with my iPad, I'm automatically getting looking like a moron. So anything I would post anyway is not going to be taken seriously. Like, look at that pretty bear over there. Everyone's like, are you 80? I'm known for that, by the way. When Stu was doing his acceptance speech at the IOCDF, I was in front of the podium like this.
Yes, you were.
There are photos of Stu with my iPad in them, like the professional photos.
Oh.
Anyway, we should probably wrap up. We're right around 7:03. Thank you all for being here, but let's go around. This was a cool discussion, and I think one that's really needed and one we can expand off of. And Lauren or Margaret, if one of you want to tell the viewers what to kind of expect moving forward with this initiative, but also let's each check out like what resonated with you and what do you hope that our viewers can take away from this. So Lori, you go first, and then we'll do Lori, Sean, and Neil, and then Margaret and Lauren if y'all want to go after that.
I'm going to go first. Okay.
Yep.
I wanted to thank Jenny for all of her comments, because it's like, oh, wow, I'm resonating with you, and this is happening too, and this is happening with my students. Like, this isn't just us, right? And at one point during the conversation, I'm like, oh, wow, there's like a generational gap here, because my nephews who love TikTok and me who's not on it at all, like, there is a gap, but everyone is experiencing social media and the impacts of COVID and screen addiction and all these things on so many different levels. So thank you, Jenny, for all your comments, because it was like the student perspective, teacher perspective, self. And so my takeaways from this is that, each and every one of us have to challenge this in different ways. And we're all going to have different levels in which, screen time or any kind of addiction is impacting us during COVID. And like Sean said, to take the really small steps towards doing something, right? And for me, that's like, I imagine myself like holding my phone. This is not where I want to be, right? I don't want to be in love with my phone or a screen. I'd rather be looking at people. And I would give all of you a bear hug. So quality over the quantity. And quantity of certain things will always be there, especially on social media. But if you're still not feeling whole at the end of that, you got to do something about it, even if it's a tiny little step. So for me, I have already committed to last week. Sounds like we're all kind of on the same parallel. I'm not checking my phone in the mornings. I'm giving myself time to like get up and have my coffee and hang out with my partner and pet my dog when she's still sleeping and snoring, and just be mindful in the morning. So that's my takeaway.
What about you, Sean?
I'm really hoping people get out of this discussion. Is kind of a combination of what you were talking about, Chrissy, with kind of a shame. The shame aspect and also awareness and then action. Kind of like, I don't want people to shame themselves too much for we're all on it too much. We're all being aware of it. So that's fine. It's good to be aware. That's the start of that's the beginning. So what are the solutions that I learned? Any solutions from this conversation? Did it make me think about how much time that I'm using? Is it healthy time? Is it unhealthy time? And then how can I take some small step actions to get myself out of some unhealthy habits that I'm in? So at the very least, awareness and hopefully don't beat yourself up too much about this, because we're having this conversation because it's something that's prolific and we're all struggling with or dealing with in some level. So so being aware and then moving forward with it, I guess. So.
Good point. Neil, what about you?
I have no profound takeaways from this other than
he's like, I'm never going to stop posting as many posts as I do.
I won't. That's true.
Meme master.
Or
I did find out that I have really quality memes, and sometimes sending Lauren a meme during this.
It's true.
But I think my takeaway for real is I'm just really thankful for everyone who tunes into these, right, when we talk about this. And I'm really thankful that we all have such a breadth of experience, right, between us, that we can go from goofy to super serious to mournful to joyous to laughing. And I think Jenny just said it best in the comments, actually, that she's thankful that we have a safe space, right, to meaningfully engage with these topics. And I hope that everyone feels that way, right? I hope that everyone feels that this is a place where you can come, and no matter what we're talking about, right, whether we're talking about booze or gambling or behaviors or isolation or avoidance or technology, whatever it is, I hope you get something from one of us. Even if it's just a good meme or watching me rock on this rocking chair from the 1800s. I wanted everyone to know that that's what I'm sitting in tonight. It was built in the 1800s. That's so cool. If you don't think that's cool, whatever. But yeah, so those are my takeaways. And I love you all, and I'm glad to be back. And hopefully you will all see us again very, very soon. Hopefully this becomes a more regular thing as we have planned it to be. So take it away, either Margaret or Lauren.
Yeah, y'all tell us what's coming up.
Okay, I'm going to let Lauren do that because she is the most organized, and I'm so grateful that she helps. I can send the email, and then she just organizes everything. So I'm going to let Lauren tell that whole, because I'm excited what we're going to do. And I sit and listen to all you guys, and, you know, and this is always weird because I sound like my mom, but I'm kind of the older one on here. And I even hate to say that, but damn it, it's true. But damn it. But if I went back, you know, I didn't have social media growing up, and then it was my children that I had to figure out, you know, and my kids were the last ones to have a phone and all that. But we grew up being outside a lot and just doing, you know, and like you said, Lori, you know, here I was in Montana in the middle of this beautiful country, and how lucky I am to do that. And I want to make sure that's what I do rather than sitting downstairs on my phone, because that's so easy to do. So my takeaway is, and I know it's COVID and I know things are, but work on planning to get out and do things. And even calling. People don't even call people anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Or leave a message.
Yeah. And you guys know, I mean, I talked to Chrissy. I like to talk to people. And Chrissy's like, oh shit, it's Margaret again. But
no, between you and Brennan, like I am on the phone like 5 hours a day.
Yeah.
I don't have any problem with that.
Yeah. But that's the takeaway is I need to keep that relationship part, because right now a little of that is lost, and a little of that's lost from the media and the generation of kids that's what they do is on their phone. And technology is awesome, but it can be hard. And for, I mean, we talk about suicide and addiction, and when you look at somebody and their life looks perfect on Facebook or Instagram or TikTok,
yeah.
And we know that's not the case, but it is hard. It's hard for me at my age to see, wow, look what they're doing. Oh, their advocacy, they're doing so much more than I am. And you can get caught up in that. And I think we all can, and probably everybody watching has a little bit of that. So I encourage everybody to reach out to people. If nothing else, call and you know, talk to people and keep that relationship going, that piece of that, because I think that's important. So I'm gonna let Lauren, because Lauren has done such a good job, and we've got exciting things about 2 different projects. But Lauren, am I putting you on the spot? But you're good at
No,
this.
that's okay. I'll do my best. Should I share thoughts before I talk about it, or what's the order of operations? Good. So I really appreciate this conversation and everything that everyone has contributed to it. And I think my takeaway, and what I hope maybe is a helpful takeaway for anyone watching, is that it's so much about intention. And I think that that's true. We see that in OCD treatment, right? Like the intention with which you're doing something, right? Like you're asking for reassurance in order to get certainty versus trying to get somebody else's opinion. Those are different actions. And going on social media to genuinely connect with somebody versus going on social media to see how many likes your post got, it's different, and it's going to fill a different need. and one I think is probably less healthy than the other. And the same goes with addiction. Same goes for like, and that's the thing. My relationship to alcohol. I never drank because I was like, this is going to be like nice with my dinner. I drank because I wanted to get drunk and I wanted to feel good. And so if you're chasing that, I want to feel good, right? The dopamine hit that we've all been talking about, you know, be suspect and maybe take a pause and back off of social media. It's probably going to be a part of most people's lives ongoing. But if it's from a place of, you know what, I just want to go on and see how so-and-so's doing, or I want to see what people are putting out there and I want to get inspired, like Sean was talking about, that maybe there's a little bit more room for that. And just letting your values be your guide and like what kind of a person you want to be at the forefront, rather like whether it's in person or online kind of doesn't matter, I think. As for what's coming up, lots of exciting stuff. So we, if I'm remembering correctly, I think the idea is that we're going to have one of these panel roundtable discussions on a topic once every other month, because it's, you know, difficult to get all of us together at one time. However, we have two other elements that we're introducing. So on the off months for the roundtables, we're going to be doing an interview, and we're going to be doing like a special topic discussion with like a smaller group of people. So we've got some ideas, and we're certainly open to any requests too, if people are looking to hear certain topics discussed. But doing like a ladies' night and a guys' night, talking about different kinds of addiction. So tonight we talked about social media a lot and internet, but also talking about things like exercise addiction, which comes up a lot, or addiction from the gambling perspective, which I know we do discuss loosely on here as well, but a little bit more funneled. And then the interviews are also going to be about specific forms of addiction that are happening concurrently with OCD. So just trying to get a little bit more in depth about each of the different sort of buckets here. Margaret, am I missing anything?
No, that is perfect. And if anybody's listening and you have something you want, a topic, please email us and let us know.
OCDgamechangers@gmail.com. Yeah.
Brilliant.
Awesome. So speaking of addiction, I'm going to be the one that wraps up so I can go watch Bachelor in Paradise. And no, I just want to give my thoughts. First of all, thank you everyone for being here tonight. And if you're watching this video, I hope it was helpful in whatever way it could be. Thank you so much to the panel for being here. Lauren and Margaret, thanks so much for your work for getting this up and going. My thoughts are this. Solution oriented. I love this conversation. I'm glad we had it. But one of the things that's helped me is to think, like Lauren kind of jogged my memory in thinking about this, is what's my intention going into social media? In the morning, sometimes I didn't even know it for a while. I would get on social media and just look for a fight. And y'all know me, I'm feisty. I like to get fired up about stuff, but why am I doing that at 8 a.m? Why am I going on Facebook and looking at comments on Denver or CBS or whatever, like just to get pissed off? You know, so I've started to think and structure my time on social media of what am I looking for and how can I get that somewhere else? Meaning, if I'm just angry and looking for a fight, is it more productive for me to put my running shoes on or grab my punching gloves and go to my punching bag outside? Like, is it more productive that way? So it's not just internalizing everything, or if I'm sad, or if I, then I go on social media and I get sadder because then I feel like a loser because everybody's life is better than me. Is it better to just go out and spend time with my dogs or spend time with people or give Margaret a call or something, and talk to someone and reconnect, and then, yes, there are other times. I also want to emphasize, Sean, what you were saying. There are wonderful things about social media. And Lauren's also mentioned it. There are great ways to connect with people. Figure out what those things are and the time limit we have that promotes that, because there's always going to be a time limit where that stops, like reassurance, and then becomes toxic. So where's that line for you? And what emotion, what emotion are we trying to appease? And are there other ways? So that's kind of my 2 cents. So again, thank you so much. Gosh, I learned so much from these conversations, and I always feel so normalized. So I appreciate everybody here on the panel, and also everybody who was here before. Look for our advertising stuff. We have done a shitty job of marketing. But we have a great volunteer on board, and she is helping. And we're going to start putting things out so you can get really excited about joining. So start looking for that on our social media. That would be, speaking of social media, Instagram and Facebook, both at OCD Game Changers. And again, if you have any ideas, anything that you want to contribute, go to ocdgamechangers@gmail.com. Drop us an email. Give us a few days to get back to you, and we will. It won't be instant gratification, but yeah, we're open to any ideas, because we want this to be a space where you come here and you feel like you're heard, you feel like you're seen, and you walk away and you can either take what we have discussed to help you feel normalized, or understand someone that you love or someone that is in your life and help to normalize that for them. So I hope you have a wonderful night. Thank you so much for being here, and look for us on social media, and you'll see the next time we come on, and all of our initiatives that will be coming up real soon. So bye, everyone. Uh-oh, how do I end this? Okay, here we go. Oh my God, did it not end?